Welcome back, everyone. Very excited to have Lisa De Bruin with me again. For those of you who followed us last week for our introduction conversation, the two of us have been putting together some corporate workshops, and today we are going to dive a little bit deeper. So welcome, Lisa. Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you, Cindy, and it's wonderful talking to you again.
Thanks.
So, what are we going to discuss today? We're going to talk about our very first workshop that we developed, and that is the first in a series of 4. So, this workshop that we're talking about today is workplace energy management. So, the purpose of this module that we've put together is really to help participants to understand the difference between managing time and managing energy. We will also help participants to identify what is the things that really drain your energy and what can you do to restore. We're also going to assist you during these sessions to identify those small habits that you can follow and that you can start practicing to really start living the life that you want to live, and also to progress towards your own personal well-being. So, Cindy, there's a lot of things that we can discuss, but we're going to first start I'm going to ask you firstly, what is the biggest challenge people struggle with in the corporate workplace with regards to energy management?
Thank you, Lisa. It's so interesting in the last 13 years observing, people that I sit with in sessions or in corporate workshops. People are always tired. The biggest thing that I always hear from people is they are so overwhelmed with the amount of work that they sit with on a daily basis. And it's almost like they don't know, how to find the perfect balance between their work life and their personal life and to make time for their own personal well-being. So the biggest challenge that people actually struggle with is this idea, and I think it comes from maybe the industrial era of how productive are you, but we live in a society where people actually reward you being busy. So that is the greatest challenge. People sit with this idea that if I'm busy or I'm always available, then, my boss or my co-workers see me as this incredible team player, and I get rewarded for always being available and always going the extra mile. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't give our best. Of course, we should always give our best with what we're busy with, but not to the detriment of your own well-being. And I think this is why these conversations are so powerful, is we really bring that awareness in of starting to listen to your own body and almost giving people the tools to say, this is, first of all, how to listen to your body, the signals and the symptoms that your body's sending. And then secondly, how do you act on that? How do you find that perfect rhythm between I'm doing the best that I can do right now and I'm moving into space of saying, okay, I need a minute, I need 5 minutes, I need half an hour before you can continue. So yes, it's a very real challenge that people struggle with.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've learned myself as well. Being always busy, 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 thinking about this, running from one meeting to another, just finding that time in your day just to pause and just to just recoup and just think, you know, breathe for for a moment as well. But this is also caused by myths that exist in the workplace. What would you say is the biggest productivity myth that exists at the moment?
I think it ties in beautifully with what we just shared about this idea of being busy or being active, having lots of things on your to-do list versus actual productivity. And I think this is, it's a very fine line, because if you are running a big project at the moment, or you've got multiple teams under you, or you are launching something new, of course, there is an element of putting in a little bit of extra time and some extra hours. But what I'm specifically referring to is this mindset of overgiving all the time. And that can look like replying to an email at midnight because, you get home, you quickly prepare supper or do what you need to do, attend to a few family matters. And then people tend to go back to their laptop and continue working. And obviously, in an ideal world, we need a time in the day where we just completely shut down our computers and we have a moment to reflect on our own well-being. And obviously, the long-term benefit of having a rhythm that your body goes into is you create this safety net for the nervous system in the body, that the body starts to regulate itself again. And it's almost like in the subconscious mind or your unconscious mind, your body knows that at a certain time of the day, I will be rewarded with rest. But if that's not available, then the body stays in this constant state of stress and this almost like fight or flight kind of energy where it eventually then leads to burnout. So yes, a lot of the things and the habits that we have that we sit with is this idea that if I'm busy, I'm productive, but it's not, because if you are not 100% present in that moment and you can't, give the energy that you would normally give, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when the body starts to run on fumes.
So, Cindy, you mentioned stress now.
Mm.
What is the difference between stress and energy depletion?
Yeah, it's very interesting because a lot of people, when you say the word stress, they have almost like a negative connectivity to it. And stress is actually a normal hormone that we have in our bodies. It's the kind of energy that gets you going. It gives you a little bit of a boost when there's a specific deadline or something that needs to happen within a specific time frame. And so stress in itself is not necessarily a bad thing or a negative thing. It helps us to, just get going and get things done. When it goes into energy depletion is when it's a long-term stress or an ongoing process of not filling up your cup. And people not understanding this difference between knowing when to say no, or I need a minute to, just fill up my own cup, and pushing beyond that boundary of understanding their own limits. And I think that is where it's very important for us to start to listen to our bodies, to really hear when the body is running on that last little bit of energy to know when to stop. I lost you there for a moment, Lisa, but you're back now.
Yes. Yeah, sorry about that. It must be the signal.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
where you ended now.
Yes. So just understanding the difference between stress, the fact that it is normal, and knowing that energy depletion is actually this long-term stress, the ongoing stress, and without allowing your body to step into a space of rest. And I think that's really what we try and do with these workshops is we want to bring that awareness to people to say that it's so important for you to have a daily routine where you bring in moments of rest, where you have moments where you move your body, where you take deep breaths, where there's certain activities that you bring into your day. And obviously, when we sit with these teams, we go into a bit of an interactive session and we try out a few different techniques with them. But it really is about awareness and educating people on the difference of that.
So, if you've been watching today and you know that your energy levels are low at the moment or in your team, contact me or Cindy, and we can come and help you to identify what is those things that draining the energy for you as an individual, but also in your team, and also help you to identify those small things that you can change that will make sure that you are like the Everest. Is it the Everest? Which one is that? That battery, that little rabbit that's always on the go?
Energizer, the Energizer bunny. Yeah.
Energize. Yes.
Yes.
So if you want to restore that for yourself or in your team, contact me and Cindy at Hive-Mind, and we will be glad to come and share with you all the wisdom that we have within this area of specialization where we can really help you and assist you.
Yes, we are very excited to share this with you guys. And thank you for spending some time with us. And we look forward to hearing from all of you soon. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Cindy.